Welcome into the fantasy draft room. I am Cody Smith, and I am coming to you live right after the Steelers and the Browns just played their game on Thursday Night Football on Amazon. Browns winning the game 29-17. Truthfully, it was more of a 23-17 game, but the Cleveland Browns falling on the ball in the end zone on the Pittsburgh Steelers' last possession, last play of the game. Let's break it all down. Let's start off with the quarterbacks. Wasn't a great game. We didn't come into this game expecting massive performances from either of these offenses, but I'll be honest, they look better than I thought they would be coming in. Mitchell Trubisky, 20 of 32, 207 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 1 sack for 3 yards. Nothing fucking special, but nothing to win him the game. They figured that out, only putting up 17 points. Cleveland outscoring them. Jacoby Brisket, 21 of 31, 220 yards, 2 total touchdowns, but took 2 sacks for 15 yards. Brisket outplaying Trubisky for this game tonight. Now let's get into really what matters. We aren't trying to get either of these quarterbacks on our teams. Let's get into the rushing. Let's get into how the running back rooms looked. Let's get into how the receiving yards looked. Let's get into their snap shares, their routes run, all of the stuff that we care about for our fantasy teams. We're going to start over with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I have all of the data so far. We're missing the running back, some of the running back data for the Cleveland Browns. Hopefully we get it by the end of the show. I'm going to be trying to pull it up while I'm going live here. But we're going to start off with the Pittsburgh Steelers because I have it all. Let's dive into the wide receiving room first. Deontay Johnson with a big game, leading the room at 58 snaps, 33 route runs. He had 11 targets. With that 11 targets, 8 receptions, 84 yards. Didn't score a touchdown, but this is what we like from Deontay Johnson. He gets 1 touchdown, and this game's a league leading league. So 8 receptions, 11 targets. Man, it's a good game. Good game from Deontay Johnson. But let's go into the guy that made the highlight catch. Holy shit. I'm sorry we bashed you last night, George Pickens. Wow. What an incredible grab. Not on OBJ highlights, in my opinion. That one was for a touchdown. He got the pass interference on him. But man, what a fucking catch. George Pickens, 45 snaps, 29 routes run. He got 7 targets. Pretty impressive for George Pickens right there. Only turned those into 3 receptions for 39 yards. I'm still not liking him for fantasy, but man, what a catch. The talent is fucking there. Talent is definitely there. So I still don't like him this year. Still an overpay for 23 first, everything like that. But man, George Pickens, he is a dog, as they were saying before the season started. He's just not going to be a dog for my fantasy lineups. Chase Claypool, the other wide receiver option other than Gunnar Olszewski, so who will leave anonymous on this report. 55 snaps for Chase Claypool, 33 routes run, 6 targets, and 1 carry on those 6 targets. He turned that into 3 receptions, 35 yards. So really nothing there. Only one you really wanted to start it out of this receiving core was Deontay Johnson. Even Pat Freiermuth in the tight end game, 45 snaps, 21 routes run, 4 targets, turned that into 2 receptions for 41 yards. At least the yardage was there, but not what you want to see from a guy who we're putting above Dalton Schultz and Dallas Goedert right now. So not what you wanted to see from Freiermuth, but at least he gave you a little bit to maybe solidify you and, put up a little bit of points for you on this week. Outside of that, we did have, the other receiving option that tied with all these guys. Really, I mean, he was tied for the second in receptions on this team, Najee Harris coming out of the backfield. We'll get into the running backs from there. So in the receiving game, he got his 3 receptions, 5 yards. I mean, it was bad. I think one of his receptions went negative for like 4 yards. So really, if you put that at 0, that's still 3 for 9. Not great. The inefficiencies with Najee Harris is what we were concerned about, but 3 targets still, 3 receptions, get those points for our running backs. On the ground, though, let's get into the ground game where we really care about the splits. Najee Harris with 47 snaps on the game, 16 routes run, 3 targets, and 15 carries compared to Jalen Warren's, cementing himself. He had some really good runs in this game. 12 snaps, 4 routes run, only 1 target, so he's just really not being used in the receiving game, but did have 4 carries. On those carries, he's looking nice. It's just not going to be enough to, ever really start him in a lineup. This is Najee Harris's backfield through and through. On the ground, he did turn those 4 carries into 30 yards with a 10-yard long rush. Najee Harris turned 15 carries into 56 yards and a touchdown. So Najee Harris, let's see, he got 56 yards, and 5. Yardage still isn't there. You're lucky he fell into the end zone again. You're still concerned about Najee. Luckily, he put up that touchdown this game, really saved the week. Other than that, he's not an RB1. Like, you can't be comfortably putting Najee Harris in your RB1 role week to week. Let's look into their splits. Like we said, it's Najee Harris's backfield, but let's look at the splits just to kind of confirm our initial bias on this one. So the only ones that saw snaps in the backfield were Jaylen Warren and Najee Harris. On all of the plays, their total snaps, Najee Harris with 47 snaps compared to Jaylen Warren's 12. Early downs, 25 for Najee, 10 for Jaylen Warren. All of the goal line work, all of the short yardage work, all of the 2-minute drill work going to Najee Harris. And on third down was the only place that Jaylen Warren saw specialty time, with Jaylen Warren getting 2 snaps compared to Najee Harris's 5 snaps. Really, what we need to take away from this is, while they may have put up some numbers tonight, Najee Harris put up the numbers we wanted, Deontay Harris put up the numbers we wanted, we're still scared for this offense, man. They're still not good. The offensive line's still terrible. Mitch Trubisky's still the quarterback. He's still going to be incredibly inefficient. We just saw the report coming out with Mike Tomlin saying, is there a QB battle? Being asked by reporters, he said, absolutely not. We're still going to see Mitch Trubisky here for, I think, at least probably another month before we even get a glimpse of Kenny Pickett coming in. And even if we do get Kenny Pickett in, there's nothing to say Kenny Pickett's going to step in and be better than Mitch Trubisky. It's probably going to be a wash year where we're looking for, at max, we're looking for these type of weeks coming off of our Pittsburgh Steelers offensive weapons. So for fantasy, it's going to be a little bit rough, guys, but hopefully you can weather the storm. Maybe use these guys more as, your RB2, wide receiver 3 options, but it ain't going to be pretty week to week, and you're never going to go win. They're going to just not fall into the end zone, or maybe only go 5 receptions for 40 yards instead of 8 for 84. So hopefully you didn't overinvest yourself in the Steelers offense, but let's get into our Cleveland Browns. And while I'm doing this, I'm also going to search for the running back snap data. Let's see if we can find it between the Cleveland Browns. Let's see if we can find it between the Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt splits. That's really what I'm looking for here. While I'm looking for that, let's get into the wide receiving options first, just like we did with the Steelers. Going to get into the snap counts, and leading the team in snaps, it's DPJ, Donovan Peoples-Jones, coming out of Michigan. 63 snaps, did only run 28 routes run on those 63 snaps. I saw a lot of times Donovan Peoples-Jones motioning inside, being an inline blocker with that big body. So only had 2 targets on 63 snaps with 28 routes run. People who think Donovan Peoples-Jones set for a breakout, man, I just don't think it's happening for you. This offense is going to be tunneled, and it's going to be tunneled to the 2 guys we're going to talk about right now. It's going to be tunneled to Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper being the wide receiving option, 59 snaps, 32 routes run, 11 targets for Amari Cooper. I'm damn glad I just picked him up. 7 receptions on those 11 targets, 101 yards, a touchdown, a long of 32. Absolute smash today. Brisket was looking his way the entire night, almost too much at times. But man, the one that I didn't expect, the one coming out of the tight end room, David Njoku finally showing up. His best game, second best game in his career yardage wise. See what he did. We got 63 snaps that he was on the field for, with 27 routes run, 10 targets. On those 10 targets, he turned it into 9 receptions, 89 yards, and a touchdown with a long of 19. David Njoku and Amari Cooper, as long as Jacoby Brisket is running this offense, that's where this offense is going to funnel. And honestly, if he keeps funneling it at this rate, those 2, you can start week to week. I don't care whether it's Jacoby Brisket. I don't care if they're only scoring 17, 20 points a week. If they're getting this type of target work, you can start these guys week in, week out. And I kind of wish I had bought in on Njoku a week earlier because his price is going to be skyrocketing after this performance right now. With that being said, let's get into the rest of the wide receivers. We already touched on DPJ. David Bell was also out there a good bit, 40 snaps, 19 routes run, really only saw one target though. See some people saying, they're still hanging on to that David Bell hope. It ain't going to be this year. At least it ain't going to be with how bad this offense is going to be under Jacoby Brisket. Maybe if he develops, a rapport with Watson coming in probably next year, maybe you're looking at that play. But David Bell, I don't think should really be ever starting a lineup in any format for all of this year. Anthony Schwartz, the only other wide receiver, he's toast as well. Only 5 snaps, 2 routes run, gooses and targets. Nothing really going there. Let's also talk about the other tight end of the room, Harrison Bryant. He did have 34 snaps, 14 routes run compared to Njoku's 63 snaps, 27 routes run. As a refresher, 0 targets. Man, Harrison Bryant just being used in the running game. He's their blocking tight end, along with Miller Forstall, 4 snaps, 4 routes run, no targets as well. If this trend continues for Njoku, man, he's going to be worth a lot more than he was these first 2 weeks. So hopefully you picked up some Njoku, maybe bought low after, not as good of a performance over these first 2 weeks. And then we're going to go into the running back room real quick. We're going to check one more time if we have the full split snap data. Hopefully we have it for you. But if not, we're just going to look at their snap totals. Nick Chubb on the field for more snaps than Kareem Hunt. Nick Chubb with 45 snaps with 16 routes run. Only 1 target on those, though, but he did have a total of 23 carries. Getting the man his work, 23 carries, 113 yards, a touchdown, and a long of 36. Man, Nick Chubb is good. Coming off of the high he had last week, he didn't disappoint again. He is an absolute monster on the ground, especially if he's getting that rushing work up into the 20-plus carry total. Man, if he can continue that work, he's going to be smashing as well. So you can have Amari Cooper, you can have Nick Chubb, you can have David Njoku. I don't think they're all going to be smashing on week to week. Man, who kind of got a little bit left out here. I don't know. Let's see. Let's dive into his stats. Kareem Hunt was on the field for 32 snaps, 17 routes run. Interesting that Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, only 1 routes run difference between the two, with Kareem Hunt outpacing Nick Chubb 17-16. Kareem Hunt did have 4 targets on those routes run, though, compared to only 1 for Nick Chubb. And Kareem Hunt also had 12 carries. So really, still 16 touches for Kareem Hunt. Not fucking bad. On his 12 carries, 47 yards, a long of 11. And through the air, he had 14 yards, didn't go into the end zone. Just not an overly productive game, but the touches are still there. I'm not overly worried about Kareem Hunt. It's just going to be a week-to-week thing where does Nick Chubb get the touchdown? Does Kareem Hunt get the touchdown? Where's the game script lying? And Cleveland was ahead in this game for, a little bit coming down there towards the stretch. Did that trying to change things? So maybe that all played into it. Obviously, Nick Chubb's the one who still won. He's going to be worth a lot right now, a lot more than what we were paying for him this offseason. So hopefully you bought a little bit of a dip with Nick Chubb right there. I know he's kind of a person that nobody really wants to touch, especially in those full PPR leagues. But, man, he's a damn good runner, and this Browns O-line is still good. And, hell, if fucking Jacoby Brisket can run the offense like this, let's just wait and see what we get with Deshaun Watson whenever he comes back and starts running it. So looks like we're not going to be able to get that PFF data for the snap shares out of the backfield for the Cleveland Browns. Let me just look one more time before I get off of here. But happy to be on with you guys. Hopefully this is worth a little bit, whether you're watching this tonight, whether you're watching it tomorrow morning on your way into work. Hopefully this can help you break down the game, see where, don't overhype on George Pickens. He's only running on 45 snaps compared to 55 plus for the other guys who are really running out as the first, 2 lead receiving options. He did have a lot of targets, but still only three receptions on those 7 targets. He had the miraculous catch. I'm not trying to discount him from that, but he's still not going to get the work week in and week out. So don't overhype yourselves. Nick Chubb's still worth it, not trading that away, all of that stuff. If you got any questions, reach out to us at the Fantasy Draft Room. I am at Cody Smith, TFDR. Reach out to my co-host at Trophy Chase TFDR. Check us out on this YouTube that we're also going live on, the Fantasy Draft Room. Check out the podcast, go all the stuff, rate, review, like, comment, all the things we're here for. But that'll do it for me tonight. Hope you have a great night, and we will see you back for the next primetime recap, hopefully on Monday night. Until then, we will see you next time.